consciousness undergoing three changes. Deep sleep, partially sleeping, and fully awakened.
Yeah.
Is it different from body going to sleep? Like if we actually sleep, right?
Yeah.
Because the reason I'm asking is that when consciousness is fully awake, then it identifies completely with the soul.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm fully awake. I'm talking to you, but I don't identify completely with my soul because if I have that knowledge, I wouldn't be sitting in this class.
Yeah.
So, what is the difference between like who is going to sleep? Like, you got my question if I
Yeah,
framed
yeah.
it right?
I got your question, but you can use that analogy to understand the three states of the soul, but it is not similar to the body going through deep sleep, half sleep, and fully awakened state. But you can use that analogy to understand the consciousness, the three levels of consciousness that the jiva undergoes.
Okay, so right now it could be that I am fully awake, my body is fully awake, but it could be that my consciousness is partially asleep. That's why like I sometimes identify with the body, sometimes identify with the soul, and
Yeah.
I'm struggling with between these two and trying to seek knowledge. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So just like in your sleep, when you are in deep sleep, you're completely ignorant of your body, right?
Yes.
You're completely ignorant of your body. Whereas when you are in half sleep, you are partially aware of your body and partially not. And in a fully awakened state, you're completely aware of your body.
Okay. Okay. So you're using the same analogy that's for consciousness here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Another question that I have in relation to this. Oh, sorry. I'll go later. Rahul, Prabhu, you can go first.
Yeah, I just have a note. I don't remember much, Prabhuji. The note says, we all are criminals, and that is why we have been put into this jail of material existence.
Yeah. So I think that was with regards to a point that's not Swati, Aparna. Yeah, Aparna mentioned a point saying that when we look at some hardcore criminals, so we feel so bad for them, thinking that they commit so many abominable activities and they're completely, ignorant of Krishna. We feel so bad for them. And that's when we had a discussion saying that, in fact, we are also criminals. Just like those hardcore criminals, we are also criminals because we are also ignorant of Krishna. So we may not be involved in abominable actions, but we are also ignorant of Krishna. And for that matter, we are also criminals. That's why we are put into this jail, which is a correction facility.
We also discussed when the soul enters the body, and for that we give a reference of Srimad Bhagavatam Sloka, 3rd canto, in 36th chapter, where at the time of conception the soul enters into the
Yeah, Rahul asked that question, right? So when does the soul actually enter the body? Yeah. So it is at the time of conception. Okay, yeah, Vidanath, go ahead with your question.
So I'm always actually confused with this verse, this particular verse, because it says like the soul has not come into being, will not come into being, and has not come into being in the past.
Yeah.
It is everlasting and existing since primeval times. So putting this in context with the previous knowledge that we've got, like we are individual souls, Krishna is an individual soul, but yeah, qualitatively same and quantitatively different. That all is there. My question is like, so Krishna is the king, and we are the eternal servants of Krishna. That is our spiritual position. But why is it like this? Did Krishna want it to be like this? I mean, if we have never come into being, then I'm always confused. Like, we have who created all this? Like, who made Krishna the king, and who made somewhere there has to be a starting point, right? So that's why this verse confuses me.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's not like Krishna first came and then he created all of us, And from then on, we are eternal.
Yeah.
It's not like that, right?
No.
Even Krishna also did not create us.
Krishna did not create us, and nobody created Krishna. So the very first shloka that Krishna speaks, right? 2.11. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadipa devana bhavishyamaha sarve vayam param. So that is the very first shloka in this chapter when Krishna starts speaking, right? That is the first shloka Krishna tells about the soul. Krishna says, never was there a time where I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kingsmen. And this current shloka, 2.21, 20, right? 2.20 is exactly similar to that. Najayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vanabhuya. That is similar to Natve Vaham Jatu Nasam. Never was there a time where I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kingsmen. So, so to answer your question, right? So we are eternal. And the definition of eternality is there's no beginning and no end. Okay, 1 second. Let me trying to see the Zoom window here.
Escape.
Escape? Yeah. No, it's not showing. Yeah, sometimes it behaves weirdly. If I stop sharing, then I can see everybody.
Okay, got it. So, in one of the classes, the audience of Prabhupada was not the same issue.
Okay, so share screen. Not this one. Desktop. Share. It's gone again. Okay, anyways. So Vedanath, we are eternal. And the definition of eternality is there's no beginning, no end. No one created us and no one can destroy us. And when we say no one created us, and that includes Krishna also. So Krishna did not create us. It is not like in the beginning, as some philosophers say, right? Especially the Mayavad philosophers, they say that in the beginning there was Krishna and Krishna was bored. So he created all the living entities. No, that is not true. So Krishna and all the jivas, they coexist eternally. They coexist eternally. At the same time, the jivas cannot exist in the spiritual world without the presence of Krishna. In the material world, anyway, obviously, we cannot exist without Krishna creating us. Krishna creates the matter and gives the job to Brahma. So Brahma does the secondary creation. So in the material world, obviously, we cannot exist without Krishna's creation. But in the spiritual world also, Jiva cannot exist without Krishna's presence. Even though Krishna has not created the Jivas, but at the same time, Jivas cannot exist without Krishna's presence. And that can be understood with an analogy of sun disk and sun rays. So sun rays cannot exist without sun disk. So does that answer your question, Vinara?
Yeah.
And this fact we cannot understand with a material eye, right? With a material eye, we try to understand everything chronologically. We need a date for everything. Okay, so and so incident happened on so and so date. So then it is easy to understand very clearly. But if we don't attach date to an event, then it is hard to understand for us, because we look at everything with a material view. But spiritual things, we should not look at spiritual things with a material view. So instead of understanding the events in the spiritual world chronologically, we should understand them. So how should we understand? We discuss this. What is the another word that we used? Something like chronological. What is the other word that we used to understand things in the spiritual world? I think when we were discussing that Natvevaham Jatunasam, we discussed this point. So there is a specific word in English using which we can try to understand things in the spiritual world. So chronological, everyone understands, right? So there is a date, or there are series of dates: January 1st, March 1st, September 1st. So some incidents happened like this. So it is easy to understand the series of events. But in the spiritual world, things don't happen chronologically. But there is a specific term in English. Meenu, that's a question for you, since you are attending after a long time.
I don't know what you actually discussed or was mentioned in the class. If I was there, I can search my brain to find the word, but I don't know. I haven't the faintest, at least at this moment, as to what you're talking about. I mean, like, I know that time doesn't exist in the spiritual world, but you're talking about a chronological order not existing, right? Which, is a little bit surprising to me, because when we look at, we've had a chronology of yugas, right? We had the Sankhya Yoga, and then we had the Treta, we had Dwapara, and now we have now we are in Kali Yuga. So when you say there's no chronological order, I was a little bit surprised and sort of like waiting for you to tell me the answer, because I don't have the faintest at this point.
So the Sankhya Yoga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara, and Kali Yuga, that's in the material world.
Okay.
Yeah, in the material world, we have chronological order for every, for all the events. But in the spiritual world, there's no chronological order. And by the way, time does exist in spiritual world. So time exists, but it's not a forcing factor on the jivas. Just like in the material world, time is a forcing factor. So time forces us to do things here. Time forces us to get old. Time forces us to die. Time forces us to do many things. Just like how a wife forces husband to do many things. So time forces us to do things. Whereas in the spiritual world, time does not force us. Time does not force. Time exists, but time does not force us. Time exists to facilitate different leelas to happen. To facilitate different leelas to happen.
So is it based on...
Jivas don't sleep in the spiritual world. But the time facilitates events to happen.
So maybe we can say that the concept of time is different in the spiritual world than,
Yeah, the concept of time is different.
Yeah, especially because we know that the a lifetime of a Brahma is actually a lot more, right? I don't exactly remember the number of the
That's again in the material world.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's not in one of the it still is a higher planet. It's not exactly here in the
Yeah.
Bhuloka, but it still is a higher planet and not exactly Vaikuntha, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
in one of those 7, like planets. So when you say it is still a material world, that's when it is a little bit confusing, because material world comprises primarily of the Bhuloka, right? And Brahma doesn't actually live in the Bhuloka. It still is a higher planet where he actually lives.
Brahma lives in a higher planet called Satya Loka. Just like you have Satya Yuga, there is a Loka called Satya Loka. So Brahma lives in the highest planet called Satya Loka, but he is also in the material world.
Okay, so that is also part of the material world only.
Yeah, it's part of the material world, and when the annihilation happens, even Brahma is also annihilated. Yeah.
So where does the spiritual world exactly begin? Like in all of the 7 planets. I'm talking about the top 7. Where does it exactly begin? It's only Vaikuntha, is it?
It's above those 7 planets.
Oh, it's above those 7 planets.
Above 7 planets. Yeah. So these 7 planets are, these are actually 14 planets.
Bottom 7 as well.
Yeah. So 14.
Bottom 7, yeah.
Including the Earth planet, which is in the middle. So 6 above and 7 above and 6 below. Yeah. So the lower planetary system, Patala Loka, 6 planets in the lower planetary system, and in the middle, Earth planetary system, and above 7 planetary systems, the heavenly planets. And much more higher than the 14 planetary systems, it is the spiritual world. Yeah. So the word that we use to understand things in the spiritual world is ontological. Just like how we have chronological, there is a specific term called ontological. Okay. Now let me show you the meaning of that word, ontological. So do you all see my screen? No, right? Okay, let me share. Yeah. So this is ontological. This is the meaning of ontological. Relating to the branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being. Showing the relations between the concepts and categories in a subject area or domain. So we can only understand anything in the spiritual world in relation with Krishna. Just like the second definition here, it says, showing the relations between the concepts and categories in a subject area or domain. So we cannot understand about Jiva without understanding in relation with Krishna. Even in this process of self-realization. See, we are all in the material world. Now, we are all sadhakas. In the path of Bhakti Yoga, we are all sadhakas. We are trying to achieve self-realization. We're trying to realize our true nature. So even in this process of self-realization, we cannot understand, we cannot achieve self-realization without connecting with Krishna. We can only achieve self-realization in relation with Krishna. So just like, let's say a person is put into a dark room. Now, for that person to understand about his whereabouts, first of all, to understand about, or to become aware of himself. For that person who is in the dark room, in order for him to become aware of himself, he cannot become aware of himself unless he identifies himself in relation with the room where he is in, or the place where he is in. He cannot become aware of just by himself. That will be a ghost. So if somebody is able to identify or somebody is able to become aware of themselves without without connecting with the place they are in, that will be only ghost. So just like that, in even the spiritual world, we cannot understand the presence of Jiva, or we cannot understand anything, any event, anything that's happening in the spiritual world, we cannot understand without connecting with Krishna. So everything we can understand in relation with Krishna. So it's like a group of events that I can say. Instead of saying series of events, it's a group of events. We can understand them in relation with each other. Ontological.
Prabhuji, we were discussing about time being the factor for us to do our activity in material existence, and we stopped at the time in spiritual world, like what that time dimension, what is the factor in spiritual world?
So what do you mean when you say what is the time factor in spiritual world?
Like what does it do, or why is time
So yeah, what does
dimension
it
in
facilitates? Just like in the drama, right? Just like in the drama, a series of events need to happen. Okay. Now, a series of events to happen, there has to be time lag between the events. There has to be time lapse, right? So without time lapse, it's only static. It will not be dynamic. You're only seeing a picture, not video. So a video has a dimension of time, but picture is static. It does not have a dimension of time. So you can use that analogy to understand things in the spiritual world. So to facilitate events or pastimes, like Krishna plays with his friends, gopis and gopa boys, right? Now when Krishna goes to the forest with the cows and the cowherd boys, other cowherd boys, so Mother Yashoda, so she's worried. Okay, if Krishna does not return back on time, Mother Yashoda is worried. Now there is a time concept here for all these events to happen. Krishna to go to forest and then spend some time in the forest, and then Mother Yashoda getting worried that Krishna has not returned yet. For all these things to happen, for all these emotions, for Mother Yashoda to show those emotions of anxiety for Krishna, or gopis showing separation, feeling of separation for Krishna when Krishna has gone away from them. So for all these things to happen, time dimension is needed.
So Prabhuji, I'm trying to understand that here in material existence, the time is linear. It goes in a straight line, right?
Yeah.
So can we assume that in the spiritual world, it is multi-directional, and is it like still we discuss about ontological, it will not be in a chronological order. It's ontological. So does that mean the events are random, like, or does it have the events or the pastimes of the Supreme Personality have some kind of order to it, or
they are not random. They are not random. Even in the material world, things are not random. There is an order in the nature. There is an order. There's a specific term for that. For the order in the nature, there is a specific term. What is that?
Could it be parallel? parallel events happening at the same time, and
that's a good point. Yes, parallel events happen. Yes, correct.
but
Parallel events happen. That is true, because the same Bhagavad Gita, or not Bhagavad Gita. Let's say Krishna's pastime of stealing butter. That can happen parallelly in different spiritual worlds. Now, when we say spiritual world, it's not one planet, right? There are multiple planets. There is Goloka, and there are different types of Golokas, not just one Goloka. There is Goloka, Ayodhya Loka, Vaikuntha Loka, so many spiritual worlds. Within Goloka, there are so many, not within Goloka, but there are different spiritual worlds that have the name Goloka. In different Golokas, in the spiritual world, this pastime of Krishna stealing butter can happen parallelly. So events happen parallelly, and also within the same planet, time may be working linear, just like in the material world. I guess it must be working linear fashion. Yeah, I think that's how the time lapse, the concept of time lapse occurs, right? So I think it works in linear fashion. Otherwise, it can be, as you said, random or yeah.
Our understanding of time in the material world is relative, Prabhuji. What I can say is like what we understand as a time, maybe for us to be related on this planet makes sense.
Yeah.
But even if we go out of this planet a couple of lifetimes away, the concept of time is very different.
Yeah.
So with our limited understanding of time,
yeah,
we cannot correlate everything to happen
yeah,
at the same as we expect.
yeah. So just like, the time, just like how the time works in this yuga, Kali Yuga, is different from how the time works in previous yugas. So one minute here is not exactly the same 1 minute in previous yuga, but again, everything is linear. In the previous yugas also, it's linear. So now you can extrapolate that and imagine that even in the spiritual world, things happen, or the time works in a linear fashion. Yeah. So Madhuri, you had a question?
yes, Prabhuji. So coming back to like Vinanath Prabhuji's question, like Krishna being super soul and we being sub souls of him. So before, like, before we formed into souls, were we energies? Like, now that we were discussing ontological or like chronological in material world. So how did we? Of course, everything happens in and around Krishna. Like he's thinking about a certain event, or he wants certain event to happen, and maybe we are all forming ourselves to make sure that event happens. We have tools or instruments to make sure that event happens. So but before everything, like when we started, so were we like energies that
so that is
formed
the
into
thing,
a
right?
soul?
That is the thing. There is nothing like before certain thing. We cannot say what was there before. Then that itself defeats the definition of eternality, right?
Yeah.
So there is nothing like before what? There's nothing like before something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prabhu, one question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to understand with our senses? So how it works in Vaikuntha, the time whatever you explained, right? Is it possible for us to understand in reality at this moment?
No, we cannot understand. We can only get some glimpses and information of the spiritual world, but we cannot imagine how it looks, and we cannot perceive it with material senses.
Okay.
When Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna explains about his abode, chapter 15, where he says, "Na tad bhashayate suryo, na shashanko na pavaha, yadgatva na nivartante, taddhama paramam mama." So Krishna gives some description of his spiritual abode. So he says, "My abode is not illumined by sun or moon. My abode is not illumined by sun or moon." Now, how can we understand that? In the material world, the things are illumined either by moon or sun. In the daytime, it is illumined by sun. In the nighttime, things are illumined by moon. And the so-called electricity is a transformation of that solar energy. So, but without sun, moon, or electricity, how can we imagine that Krishna's abode is self-illumined? So we can only get the information and use our creativity and imagination to see, to feel how it looks like, but we cannot perceive it. We cannot completely understand with our material senses. But we can appreciate the description and get inspired to go back to that abode. We can only get inspired to go back to that abode. Oh, when things in the material world, see, for example, on a full moon day, how beautiful it is. It is extremely beautiful on a full moon day. I mean, in India, long time ago, it was a habit to sleep outside in full moonlight, right? Gone are those days. Gone are those days. Now, who is people are not even looking at the moon these days. So people are not even looking at moon. They don't even have time to look at the moon. But things are very beautiful on a full moon day. So even though it is dark, but everything is very beautiful on a full moon day. Now, just imagine, in the material world itself, things are so beautiful under the moonlight on a full moon day. Now what to speak of the things in the spiritual world, where this artificial light is not needed and no need of sun and moon, but everything is self-illumined. So similarly, how the time works, definitely time should be working in a linear fashion, because that is when the time lapse occurs and events happen. But it does not force us to do things. Like, for example, now in the morning, 7 o'clock, children have to wake up here in the material world so that they have to get ready and go to school. And adults also, they have to get ready and go to work. And in the evening or in the night, we are forced to sleep. We are forced to do things. When time occurs, as time progresses, we are forced to do things. So in spiritual world, there is no forcing factor like that. There's nobody, like waking you up at 7 o'clock. So you can do things anytime, just like children, right? 1 year, 2-year-old children, they don't have a concept of time. If you ask them to play, they want to play 24 hours a day. They don't have a concept of time. Now, when the parents bring them back home, then they start crying. No, I want to play more. I want to play forever. So where is that coming from? That is coming from spiritual world. In spiritual world, you can do things eternally. For example, if somebody likes gulab jamun, they can eat. They can start eating gulab jamun, and they can continue eating gulab jamun forever. Nobody is forcing you to stop. So,
We say time is circular.
yeah,
Kala Chakra.
yes,
Because all these 4 events have been occurring, and that was like 14 times right now we are in 14th Kalpa.
yeah,
So since our lifespan is like very short of 100 years,
yeah,
we really don't know like whether it's happening in the loop or not.
yeah,
Because there is another word like deja vu, where we feel
Deja
like,
vu,
okay,
yeah.
these things have happened
yeah,
earlier also.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, when they say time is cyclic, that is to complete the cycle of the yugas. Yeah, but within the yuga, when the events happen, it is linear. Time is linear. Yeah. Okay. So Rahul, you posted on chart something, right? Catacosmesis. Catacosmesis. No, this is not the word I'm looking for. No, this is not the word. So I'll get back to you when I remember that word.
Okay, I remember our discussion, Prabhuji. Yeah, you mentioned some new word no one heard of, but I don't think I noted it down.
Yeah.
It's something related to chronological, ontological, and similar to that term. I remember that, but yeah, I'm not getting the word too.
Yeah, yeah. No, chiasmus. Yeah, yeah. Chiasmus is that is different. That is the parts of the second sentence. They are reversed from the first part of the sentence. Let's say there's a 2 parts in a sentence. The components in the second line, they are reversed from the first line. Like ask not what the country has done for you, but ask what you have done for the country. Yeah. And what was the shloka that we discussed?
16
Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubayorapi drishtontas, tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. Yeah. Chiasmus, that's a different one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now, so Vedanath, is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear, Prabhu. The
Okay.
minute you remove chronology, then it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
even after 5 to 10 minutes of explanation, Madhuri still was about to ask the question. But what was there before?
Yeah, it's very confusing, right? Like
No tendency, right, to understand everything with a timestamp. What was there before? What was there after? So there's no question of after before.
Yeah, the logical brain is triggering whenever we think about that. Like we need to find the source. That's human tendency, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's a human tendency. Yeah, to understand things in a with a material view. Yeah.
So even if somebody finds out X is the source for everything, we still need the source of X, right? It will never.
Yes, in the material world. In the material world, that is the tendency. Even if somebody says X is the source of everything, we ask, what is the source of X?
Yeah.
So not only the material world, when we are trying to understand spirituality, when we say Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Sarva Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karan. When we say Krishna is the cause of all causes, still we ask, even after 10 years, 20 years, still we ask, but who created Krishna? When we say Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah. Oh, you did not join online also, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Class don't take
Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, so that's our tendency to ask, to understand everything with a material view.
Prabhuji, just to mention, last time when we had this conversation,
Yeah.
we concluded that whenever we go to Vaikunta, we'll
Yes.
ask Krishna the question,
Yes.
how were you created? Why did you?
Yeah, you don't
And
need to ask Krishna. Everything will be revealed to you when you go there.
yeah,
Your true nature and your true your rasa in which you serve Krishna, everything will be revealed to you. And why Krishna got that position of being supreme, everything will be revealed to you. Yeah. Okay. Now, so in this 2.20, 2.20 is almost similar to the 2.11. No? Natvevaham jatu nasam. Natvam neme janadipa. Okay. So in one sense, it kind of looks like a repetition, right? Whatever Krishna has already said, he's repeating the same thing. And even within the shloka, there is a repetition here. So the point that Krishna is conveying, that is repeated several times. And even within, especially in this shloka, 2.20, Natvevaham jatunasam shloka, even within the shloka, there is a repetition again. Because here Krishna is saying 3 times that for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. And he is telling them in 3 different perspectives. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. So it is sufficient to say that for the soul, there is no birth. But why Krishna is telling that from 3 time perspectives, past, present, and future. So it's like repetition within the shloka. That point is repeated 3 times. And why this negation, this concept of negation used here? Now Krishna could say, right, soul exists eternally. But here Krishna is saying, for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. So 2 things. Why Krishna is using negation to convey this point of eternality, and why Krishna is repeating this point several times in this chapter. And again, within the same shloka, why Krishna is repeating 3 times. So many questions. Not just 1 or 2, so many questions.
I think Arjuna was like overwhelmed with the compassion, and he's trying to justify his compassion with all the quotes from Shastras, but wrong quotes from Shastras or something like that. And he's not understanding that he's not killing the souls of his skins who are looking like his skins in this material world. They'll always be alive, even if he kills their body. In this at this point, and irrespective of however many times he says that, it's hard for all of us asking the same question, our logical minds or the material nature of the mind in this world tries to find a meaning of the actions that we try to do. So that's why I think he's stressing on that point, that don't think that you are the karanam for this. I am the karanam for that. So, and you are not killing anyone by just destroying their body. for this cause of dharma's cause. Not, you are not doing anything bad, and you are not creating any sin by doing this. So he wants to try to stress that point many times by to Arjuna, so that he'll be out of that compassion and he'll.
Yeah, so that is good. That answers why Krishna is repeating this concept of eternality in several shlokas. Okay, in about 10 to 15 shlokas, Krishna talks about soul. The same thing repeated, right? Atvevaham jatu nasam najayate mriyate va kadachin dehinosmin yata dehe. You know, in the next shloka 2.21 vasamsi jirnani. So all these shlokas, same point that is conveyed, and what you said is perfect. So to encourage Arjuna to fight based on the spiritual platform and not on the bodily platform. Okay, that is good. But within the same shloka, he's repeating 3 times. So it does not come, will not come into being, and did not come into being. Yeah, Vinay.
I think, I mean, just the probably like just the way I asked, like, what is the beginning, what is the end? Because in material world, we are always trained to think in terms of chronology, right?
Yeah.
So Krishna is also conveying the same message with chronology. No birth, no death, no beginning, no present, no future. It's like always there.
Yeah.
So maybe by attaching timestamp, he's trying to make the message more cleaner and more dearer to him, more easier for people in material world to understand.
Yeah, exactly. So just like how we understand things in the material world with a timestamp chronologically, so for everything there is past, present, and future in the material world. For the body, there is past, present, and future. That is what Krishna is saying. For the soul, there is no past, present, or future. Concept of time is there, but for the soul, there is no past, present, or future. So that is one reason why Krishna is repeating this 3 times. Another reason is in Sanskrit, whenever we want to emphasize on a point, then we repeat, we say the same thing 3 times. That is just to emphasize the point that we are saying. For example, Harer Namaiva, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam. Kalau nasteva, 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 gatiranyada. So if you look at that shloka, so that shloka, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this shloka to glorify the holy name, chanting of the holy name of Krishna. So he said, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama iva kevalam. Kalau nasteva, 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 gatiranyada. So there, Harer Nama is repeated 3 times, and Kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva is repeated 3 times. So chanting of the holy name is the only means of getting out of this material world. And Kalau nast eva, nasti eva, nasti eva. There is no other means, no other means, no other means. He's telling the same thing 3 times. That is to emphasize on what he's saying. Similarly, when Krishna is saying, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadiva nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayam adaparam. That is to emphasize the point. And why Krishna is using negation. For the soul, neither birth nor death at any time.
I think negation is to contradict each and every argument that Arjuna has given in the first chapter and the earlier part of the second chapter. Like he said, I don't want to I don't want to use my weapons. I don't want to I don't want to counter my elders. I don't want to kill. I don't want to give them death. So he's saying neither birth. So he's saying not birth and death. I think in further he says, you can't, even if you use weapons also, nothing will happen. So if there also you'll use negation. So I think by negating things, he's actually negating everything that Arjuna has called out as an argument or as a reason for not fighting.
Not really. I mean, Krishna is refuting Arjuna's arguments by giving this concept of eternality.
Okay.
So, but Krishna could have very well refuted that argument by simply saying that soul exists eternally, body is temporary, something like that. Without using negation, he could have conveyed the message.
Okay.
So the same argument that Arjuna made, Krishna could have refuted by not using negation also. By saying soul exists eternally and body is temporary. So don't worry about the temporary body and just fight. He could have said in that way. So this style of negation is Upanishad style of Upanishad style of giving instructions. So most of the Upanishads, they give instructions in this way, using negation. In Sanskrit, it's called naiti. Naiti. Na iti does not exist. Na iti, na iti, na iti, naiti, naiti, naiti.
I heard from there. It is hard to describe the reality, so it is easier to define the reality by saying not this one, not this one, not this one.
By process of elimination. Not exactly the process of elimination here, but the reason why Krishna is using negation, or why most of the instructions in Upanishads, they use this principle, Sanskrit principle called naiti, is so we have been discussing, right? When did Krishna create the souls? How did we come into being? What was there before and after? So we're trying to look at things with a material view. Now Krishna knows that even when one is trying to understand soul, they'll only try to understand how they understand things in the material world. Now, how do we understand things in the material world? For everything, there is beginning, there is an end. That's why Krishna is saying there is no beginning and no end, neither birth nor death. That's why he's using negation. He knows how we are going to analyze soul, how we are going to understand about soul. The material view. That's why Krishna is saying neither, naiti. We use naiti for 5 times here. Neither birth nor death, does not come into being, has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. So that is to negate our material conception of understanding things. Okay. Now let's go to the next shloka. 2.21. So can you all see my shloka here? Or are you seeing only white?
Yeah, we are seeing white screen.
Okay. 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 So 2.21. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Veda vinashinam nityam
Veda vinashinam nityam.
yayenam ajamavyayam
Enam ajam.
katam sa purusha partha ghatayati hantikam. Veda knows avinasham, indestructible, nityam, always existing, yeah, one who, enam, this soul, ajam, unborn, avyayam, immutable, katam, how, sa, that, purusha, person, partha, o partha, Arjuna, come, whom, ghatayati, causes to hurt, hanti, kills, come, whom. Translation: O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Okay, now we can repeat the shloka. So Ashok, you want to recite the shloka?
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda
vinashinam nityam.
Ajamavyayam.
Yayenam
Ajamavyayam.
Katam sa purusha partha.
katam sa
Purusha partha.
Angati yati hantikam.
Amghatayati. Okay, Naresh Prabhu.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda
vinashinam nityam.
yayenam
Yayenam ajamavyayam.
Purusha partha.
katam sa
Purusha partha.
Amghatayati. Okay, Rahul.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda
vinashinam nityam.
Ya enam ajam avyayam.
yayenam
Ajamavyayam.
Katham sa purusha partha.
Katam sa purusha partha.
Kam ghatayati hantikam.
Amghatayati hantikam. Okay, Swati.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Ya enam ajam avyayam.
Yayenam ajamavyayam.
Katham sa purusha partha.
Katam sa
Katham sa purusha partha
Kam ghatayati hantikam.
ghatayati hantikam.
Okay, Vedugopal.
Prabhu, your screen disappeared.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda vinashinam
Nityam.
Yayenam ajam avyayam.
yayenam
Ajam avyayam.
Katam sa purusha partha.
Purusha partha.
Kham ghathayati hantikam.
Okay, Vinanath.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda
Ya enam ajam avyayam. Katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam.
Okay, Aparna.
Veda vinasha nityam.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Yayenam aji avyayam. Katam sa purusha partha. Kam ghatayati hantikam.
Rahul, did you recite?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm done.
Okay. Next, Madhuri.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda
Vinashinam nityam.
Ya enamajam avyayam.
Enamajamavyayam.
Katam sapurushah partha.
Katam sapurusha partha.
Kam ghatayati hantikam.
Ghatayati hantikam.
Okay, Meenu.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Veda vinashinam nityam.
Ya enamajam avyayam. Katam sapurusha partha.
Katam sapurusha partha.
Kam ghatayati hantikam.
Ghatayati hantikam.
Okay. Okay, now purport. Okay, let's see translation again. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Yeah. So, Meenu, you want to read the purport?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the codes of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and as such, Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate, the man or rather the soul cannot be killed. So for the administration of justice, so-called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction.
Yeah. Okay. So here Krishna is further encouraging Arjuna to fight with a different logic here. He says, O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? So basically what Krishna is saying that if someone is in knowledge of the self, if someone is in knowledge of the self, self means the soul, if someone is in knowledge of the soul, how can they be the cause of the death of anyone? How can they be the cause of the death of anyone? In the first chapter, Arjuna's argument was, I don't want to fight because I don't want to be the cause of death of all my kinsmen. So Arjuna was thinking that he will be the cause of the death of the kinsmen forever. He did not have the understanding of the soul and the eternality. He did not have any of that. He was identifying with body, and he was thinking that Arjuna is going to be the cause of death of all the kinsmen forever, eternally. So here Krishna is refuting that argument, and further, going back to chapter 1, Arjuna further argued, saying that I don't want to incur sinful reactions by killing my kinsmen. I don't want to incur sinful reactions. So Krishna is refuting those two arguments in this sloka. One is saying that you are not going to be the cause of the death of these people. They will be killed by a prior arrangement. They'll be killed by a prior arrangement. It is not like Krishna is fixing some match there to kill the Kauravas. That's why there is a shloka in chapter 11 where Krishna asks Arjuna, after showing the universal form, and then after showing the Kala Rupa form, the fearful Kala Rupa form, and Krishna shows all the Kauravas entering Krishna's mouth and getting killed, just like the fireflies entering the fire and getting killed. Krishna shows all the Kauravas, the teeny tiny, miniatures of Kauravas entering Krishna's gigantic mouth and getting killed. So after showing Kala Rupa form, then Krishna asks Arjuna to become an instrument. Tasmat pamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrum bhungshvarajyam suranam mayeva te nihata purmaveva nimitta matram bhavasavyasachi. So there, that word, mayeva te nihata purvameva. Krishna is saying, by a prior arrangement, they all have been put to death. By a prior arrangement, they all have been put to death. It is not like Krishna is not saying that I have killed them here right now on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I have killed them because you want to fight with them. But since you don't want to kill them, I killed them. It is not like that. Krishna is saying, Mayaivate nihata purvameva. Purva means the prior. By prior arrangement, they have already been put to death. So what is that prior arrangement?
Based on their karma, they at certain point they'll all die anyway. So I think that their karma was their prior arrangement. Yeah.
So whenever anybody takes birth, their expiry is also written. The date of expiry is also written. Just like for every product, there is a date of expiry. There is a shelf life for every product, or for most of the products, there is a shelf life. So whenever a person takes birth in the material world, the date of expiry is also written. So that is a prior arrangement. So Krishna is clarifying very clearly there. It is not like Krishna is fixing some match there and killing just for the sake of this Mahabharata war. What Krishna is saying is, even if you don't kill them, they'll be killed by somehow or the other. But you get up and become an instrument and enjoy the kingdom, get the credit of killing these people and enjoy the kingdom. So I have done everything for you. I have killed everybody, but you just become an instrument. You pretend as if you have killed them. Krishna is saying you pretend as if you have killed them and take the credit and enjoy the kingdom. So like that here, Krishna is saying, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? So when Arjuna was arguing that I don't want to be the cause of death of all these kinsmen and I don't want to incur sinful reactions, Krishna is saying, O Partha, if somebody is in knowledge of the soul and if they understand the attributes of the soul, all the previous things, ajayate, mriyate, navakadachin, natvevaham jatunasam, all those things, there's no beginning or end to the soul, there's no birth or death to the soul. So person who is in knowledge of these things, how can they think that they have killed the soul? Even though they have killed something, but it is not like, it is not same as killing the soul. So now when somebody hears this, a terrorist, when somebody when they hear this, they can also say, right, okay, I'm in knowledge of the soul. How can I be the cause of death of these people? So somebody can get a official license from this shloka to kill people. That's why in the purport Prabhupada is clarifying, saying that it is not a license to kill people. Violence is needed only, violence is required when it is needed. But violence is not to be used all the time. So Manu Samhita describes when violence is needed. We discussed, right? The 3 things should be immediately killed. Snake.
Doubt and fear. Right?
Snake, doubt. What did you say?
Enemy.
Axe?
Enemy.
Oh, one who attacks. Yeah. Okay. That is enemy, basically. Yeah. Okay. Snake, doubt, and enemy. Yeah. 3 things should be killed immediately.
When did we discuss this, Prabhuji? I don't remember, but why killing a snake is considered, Prabhuji? Because snakes are
when we say killing snake is killing a snake should be killed immediately, it does not mean you go and find all the snakes in Sammamish, Redmond, Bellevue, Shoreline, Kirkland and kill them. So again, it's not a license to kill the snakes.
In India, when they kill a snake, there is a ritual. Yeah.
There is a
ritual after that.
There is a ritual, yeah.
Something or coin.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Usually they say you get sarpadosha.
Sarpadosha. If you don't do that, you'll get sarpadosha. Yeah. So the reason why they say, or the Manu Samhita, why it prescribes to kill these 3 things immediately is, if you don't kill them, I mean, when they say you kill them immediately means, if it is harmful to you. If it is harmful to you. If you see that the snake is going to harm you, then you kill it immediately. Because generally, the Vaishnavas who are practicing sadhakas of Bhakti Yoga, right? They don't want to kill even the mosquitoes or flies or anything, ants. That's why you see most of the devotee homes, right? When the ants or flies, they come inside the home, they don't kill them. Before coming into Krishna consciousness, we used to kill mosquitoes like this. Or in India, we have advanced technology, the racket, right? Yeah. It almost looks like a tennis racket. It is tennis racket, actually. It is tennis racket, but with some electricity passing through.
We grill them.
Yeah, we grill them. We barbecue them. Barbecue them. So somebody should read Garuda Purana before doing that. Yamaraj will barbecue us when we go to Yamaloka. So, yeah.
Prabhuji, is the doubt self-doubt or doubt on others?
No, yeah, we'll come back. We'll come to the doubt part. So just like how we don't cause any harm to the insects like mosquito, flies, or bees, and similarly, the tendency is not to kill snake also, right? Not to cause any harm to the snake also. But if you see any threat from the snake to you, it is okay to kill the snake. And why only snake is mentioned? Why not tiger or lion or other animals?
I think snake is snake is the only animal. Like it looks like 90% of the snakes are non-poisonous. I know that. And if a snake is near you and it's playing like on your body, or it's like going around your body, it's basically measuring you to see if that it can swallow you up or not. If it can't swallow you, it is waiting like to get big enough to swallow you. That's the only thing that's on a snake's mind. I know that, but
And
like to
that's, I
kill
think,
a
python you're talking about. But there are venomous snakes as well, like cobras, or like particularly Malaysia. There are very, very poisonous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, poisonous snakes. I'm not sure whether they don't have remembering power. Like normal snakes don't have remembering power, but people say that like if a snake wants to kill you, it has some kind
yeah,
of
it has
power to,
photographic memory, and
From
it
wherever
can
you
and
are.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
it,
it tries to kill you irrespective wherever. I mean, we also heard about Parikshit Maharaj's like death as well, right,
yeah,
Prabhuji? I
in
mean, that's why
Hindi.
he performed Sarpayag and killed so many snakes. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, basically, I think venomous snakes are very dangerous, and pythons, like they swallow any animal. They can swallow any animals up to 6 feet. Yeah, so they try a different way. So I think that's why they say that. All kind not there are water snakes as well, but most snakes that try to kill you, like if they raise their hood or and try to stay around you, normal water snakes and non-poisonous snakes usually run away as soon as possible if they see like humans. But if a snake is raising its hood and is trying to kill you or harm you, it's mostly venomous snake. So I think that's why they say it's better to kill as soon as possible or something like that. Because at our home we had all kinds of snakes. So
I heard like snakes are angry by nature.
so is it because snakes are envious? If it is due to poisonous, maybe they could have told the scorpions also, right?
If I may add, I don't know if this is, like gonna be right or wrong, but I'm just gonna, like say what comes to mind. So every animal, right, there's always the predator and the prey relationship in the animal kingdom. If you think about, like human beings, we are also, like part of the animal kingdom. So it's either, like kill or get killed. So snake, like it could also be threatened for its own life. So the next opportunity it gets, it could, like kill you to protect itself, So why even give that opportunity to a snake rather than you can actually go ahead, like knowing that it could, like harm you, which you can actually apply to any animal. And to your question, Prabhu, as why not, like any other animal, and why, like snake in itself. I did, like think about that, like briefly. If you think about lion do not, like that's why it's called, like king of the jungle, because it has this, like law of justice where it only kills when it's hungry. Otherwise, if you just go by it, pass by it, it will not do any
But
harm.
how will you know whether the lion is hungry or not?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So I think, like
No,
lion
after the
is an
fact.
exception. Lion is an exception to that. It's generally, like maybe, like all the people that have observed the lion, like lion's behavior. To your point, yeah, I wouldn't know, like whether the lion has actually eaten in a day or 2 days or even in a week, like I wouldn't know that. But I think, like snake actually generally has a bad rap, like when it comes to, so it's very contradictory when I think about it, right? Snake, you have, like temples for snakes. Seshnag is, like is a bed for Lord Vishnu. So it has its, like positive merits and all, like all that on one side. But on the other side, it's got, like such a bad rap, which always actually boggles my mind as to why, like snake has such a bad rap. But snake is something that can actually cause fear to anybody. An army, they'll fight, like if they see a tiger, they'll like throw spears at it, anything, like any animal. But there is a saying in Tamil which goes like this, loosely translates to something like, the army would actually shiver, like when they see a snake. So snake, like this, it slithers, it can, like, yeah, I don't know. For me, snake is something, I can't even think about holding a snake. When I was in Bali, there was this whole thing about, like
I'll come to that. Yeah. So when you said
holding a snake and taking a picture and all, I cannot do that. It's
we have
slithering.
somebody
and
here.
like,
We have somebody in this room who did that. So you see Naresh here in this sitting here.
yeah, Naresh Prabhu, yeah.
His son.
I saw him. He's with his son. Yeah.
His son recently, garlanded with a snake. Cobra? Python.
Python, must be a python.
Yeah, I saw that picture and even for me, I can never imagine even seeing the snake also, actually. Seeing the snake, slithering the snake, and what to speak of. Forget about garlanding the snake.
I got goosebumps.
So yeah, even for me also, it's aches kind of thing when I see snakes, or when I hear about snakes also, it's aches kind of thing. So
I have one theory, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So the snakes are called cold-blooded animals. Even though tigers, they are also come under like ferocious animal kingdom. They're all mammals, and they have tendency to remember. Like if we bring up a small lion cub from the childhood, like we see, even every god has their like vahanam or vehicle as animal. But irrespective of that, if we bring up a lion, a tiger, or any other cub from childhood, it remembers us, it knows our smell, and it doesn't kill you even if it's hungry. Hoping that we'll feed it, it will kill us. But if we feed it, there is a chance that it can be loyal. There is chance that it can be used for our advantage as well, like to protect us or something like that. But a snake doesn't have memory at all, zero memory. It only tolerates other animals. It's a territorial animal. There are many territorial animals, but it cannot be petted. It has to be kept. Even pet snakes had to be kept in a cage, and they had to be fed. Otherwise, there is like zero tolerance for snakes. Like they have zero memory, and even though if we keep feeding it like milk or whatever it needs, eggs or whatever, whenever there's a chance, it can kill you. Either if it's a venomous snake, it can bite you. If it's a like python or something, if it gets a chance, if it's bigger, then it can eat you. So
but a snake charmer can train the snake and make it behave in certain way, right?
That's actually this snake hypnosis or snake therapy, hypnotic therapy. There's a different that's a different concept altogether. And snakes, we think that snakes can see, but the issue with them is that they cannot see very far, or they cannot. Even though Nadaswaram, they play some music and all, right? They have zero hearing power. All they know is because they slither, they don't have backbone or anything. They know through the vibrations that someone is coming and something is approaching me, and they decide, and they are super quick. That's why enemies or armies are also like afraid, because humans cannot match with that quickness. Like in a second, it can bite you and go away as well. And I know many people in my village that died because of snake bites. Irrespective of however like quick we are, it's very hard to escape a snake's bite. So I think that's why if you have a chance that you can kill it from far away, then do it. So yeah. And when Manu Samhita is written, probably there are much more snakes, and they lived in jungles and more nearer to the forest and stuff like that, or they're just farmers and stuff. So they had much more snakes and more poisonous ones. So probably they wrote that like, and now there are no snakes at all. That's why there are so many rats.
You're close to, or you almost said the answer in the end. So you said maybe the people who wrote Manu Samhita, there are many snakes in their village. So it is not like that. But you, by saying that, you said the answer. So the thing why they mentioned only snake in scriptures to kill, it is okay to kill the snake, is that snake is the only poisonous or harmful living entity that can enter everywhere, unlike other animals, unlike other wild animals like tiger or lion. You only see them in the forest, but snakes, they come everywhere. You go to Florida, snakes will welcome you. Snakes and alligators, they welcome you. So that's why it is very common to see snakes in and around our living places. That's why, and it is harmful, poisonous. The scriptures prescribe it is okay to kill the snake if you feel that it is a threat. Yeah. It is a fact that snakes may not do anything unless they see a threat to themselves. But as Madhuri said, right, they can act very swiftly, and we don't know when the snake is going to act. So before you even know, it is okay to, if you feel that it is a threat, you can kill.
But at the same time, we feed the milk to we do pujas and all this stuff. So how is it with the balance in the scriptures, like Manusmriti versus what Naga Puja?
Yeah, so this must be some ritual concocted by some people. I don't think it is a ritual prescribed in the Vedas. So someone must have concocted something. On Nagula Chavati day, they go and pour milk in that snake hill. The snake hill, they pour milk, and sometimes we see snake coming out of the hill, and yeah. So that's definitely some people, concocted idea. Okay, so snake, enemy, and doubt. These three things should be killed. Now, why did we discuss that?
Because in the Manusmriti it says like
in the purport, right? The purport, Prabhupada. Yeah.
You can use violence as utility.
Yeah. So violence is needed when it is violence is okay when it is needed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why Arjuna is encouraging Krishna. Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to fight because in order to protect dharma, fighting is needed. Prabhupada writes here, similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate, the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So for the administration of justice, so-called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction. Yeah. Okay. So it's 7:15. I think we can stop here before we wrap up. Any question, comment, reflection?
Prabhuji, I had a question. Is it self-doubt or doubt on others, or both?
Any doubt.
Any doubt.
Any doubt? Yeah. Any doubt? Any doubt should be quelled, should be killed immediately with a sword of knowledge. So in chapter 15, Krishna says, Asanga Shastrena Dridena Chitva. Asanga Shastrena. Shastra, Shastra means weapon, right? So that weapon that Krishna is referring to in that shloka is the weapon of knowledge. So use the weapon of knowledge to cut the enemy of doubt. Yeah. Because these three things, enemy, doubt, and snake, if you don't kill them, they will kill you. when there's a doubt in the mind, that doubt itself will kill you. Let's say somebody has a doubt that, oh, so my health is not good, the symptoms are not so good. Maybe I have cancer or something. And if somebody lives with that doubt for 1 year, a lot of damage already happened to them. There may not be cancer, actually, but a lot of damage already happened. But if you go and get tested and find that there's no cancer at all, then you'll feel much better. Yeah, that's why doubt should be killed immediately. Okay. Anything else? Anyone?
Prabhuji, actually, I don't have any problems with the snake, like all you guys. So can I share one picture of me with the snake just to make you all cringe a bit?
Oh, picture. Oh, no. So
yeah, I'll try to show this on the camera itself.
no, it's not clear.
It's blurring out.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'll try to. Okay, if you don't want to look at it, it's fine.
Open that picture on your desktop and share, maybe.
Yeah.
You want me to give you the presenter role?
I did that too, Prabhuji, but at my son's school, somehow they just came and dawned it on me. And then they said something which was very interesting. Yellow and black, you're okay, Jack. That means yellow and black, you're okay. The snake is not going to kill you. And yellow and red, no, something they said the combination of the colors on the snake, that you're a dead fellow. What was that? I'll remember it while you're sharing the picture.
Right in the nature.
Yeah, we can make out if it's a poisonous or non-poisonous according to the scales on the snake.
Red and yellow, you're a dead fellow.
Red yellow, it's like a coral snake or king snake. And there is another non-venomous snake which has a different pattern. It has yellow, black, red, black, and yellow. So I think it's one of the combination, like whenever they say anything bright in the nature, any insects or anything, stay away from it.
Okay. So you pasted here?
No, anything to see that, especially the coral snake.
Okay.
No, Prabhuji, I don't know how to open this on my system.
Yeah, you have to request a presenter role.
Let me send it to someone.
Is there a way to paste that in the chart?
Yeah, I'll try to do that.
Yeah, I think you can do that in the chart. There is something called attach file.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did they remove the what do you call them? Okay, so she.
The fangs of the.
Yeah, the fangs. Did they remove the fangs?
Most likely they will. I'm not sure about the US, but in India, yeah, they'll remove the fangs and.
Oh, is this python?
No.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, this was in New York. Yeah, most likely it's a python. I don't remember if it.
So did
Here
they
they
neutralize?
said
Did they
it.
neutralize it?
No.
Huh?
They would usually feed the snake.
Oh,
And then
Yeah, he said it's a pet snake, so I'm not sure if it was poisonous or not. Most likely, if it was, he would have removed the fangs and the venom from the snake. And
wow. Huh? Yeah, it looks like python. Yeah. Wow. Wow, you are a brave man.
so back in India, Prabhuji, like for Naga Panchami,
Yeah.
like some people used to come with their that butta and like they used to like offer us it